Life and death coming and going. Each one of us is experiencing that right now, one way or another. We're in this precarious position at each moment, really. We forget about that. We choose to think of ourselves as safe and comfortable, and we make plans for 6 months out. We have a lot of belief and ideas in our continuity, and yet, just like that, Joel was gone. We all know stories about that. We've just lived through, we are living through a year, we're well past a year now, of not really knowing how things are going to turn out. You know, Dennis pointed towards this not knowing is the reality that we live in. It's not a teaching point, it's the truth. And all the things we do to avoid that reality are the seeds of the suffering that we experience. Now, balance is often important to me, so it's not all bad, just as Dennis said about his experience with Joel. Everything is a mixed experience. But the ways that we try to avoid not knowing set up the patterns, the behaviors, the things that we grab onto in order to give us some stability. And what our practice offers us is this very simple practice of breathing in and breathing out and acknowledging and recognizing the truth of not knowing. I've said this a couple of times, but I like to think all of us who have just lived through this year, we would be giving up the idea of certainty, of things going according to plan. And yet I know in myself how much certainty still remains, still just sits out there. So teachers like Joel, teachers that we have in our lives, these situations in our lives are the things that open us up. The words of the teaching are helpful, and we can sometimes remember them and bring them to the moment. But it's really our own personal efforts to just meet this moment with some semblance of stability, some semblance of compassion, and some semblance of wisdom. And simply put, I think that's what practice is about. So that when we meet this moment, we have a level of stability, an ability to perceive what's going on outside of all our fantasies and ideas, but to try to see more clearly. All of these stories, somebody else did it, I didn't do it, they're controlling me. It's always that effort to push things outside of ourselves. And as Dennis said, not really take responsibility. And, you know, right smack in the Six Patriarchs Platform Sutra, really, in many ways, the heart of Zen teaching is the teaching that happens over and over again. He says, don't point your finger out, turn it back and look inside. What am I?